The Oxford community has rallied to decide how to best move forward from a controversial Facebook post uploaded on Wednesday.
Coming up, NewsWatch reporter Abby McIntosh tells us what was discussed at a forum last night concerning School of Journalism donor Ed Meek.
Good evening, and thank you for NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Ashley Muller.
And I'm Maddie Saverin.
After a Facebook post by the namesake of the university's journalism school went viral, campus leaders acted swiftly to respond to the post, and that included organizing a community-wide listening forum.
NewsWatch reporter Abby McIntosh is in the studio with more. Abby?
Thanks, guys. Yesterday was full of campus reactions condemning Ed Meek's Facebook post. Journalism school leaders organized an open listening session to hear students and the community's input in order to help them develop a proper response.
Last night, hundreds of students, faculty, and community members gathered in Nutt Auditorium to voice their concerns and comments regarding Ed Meek's controversial Facebook post. The namesake of the university's School of Journalism and New Media and former Assistant Vice Chancellor for Public Relations and Marketing made a post on his personal Facebook page that had racial undertones to it. It was quickly condemned by the journalism school and Chancellor Jeffrey Vitter, among other campus organizations. But last night, a forum organized by the journalism school and campus leaders gave students like Cameron Brooks an opportunity to share how Meek's post has affected them.
I mean, as a student, the Meek School is attached to my degree for the rest of my life. I don't want to face the consequences of what that name means to my degree, my education. I don't want to carry the baggage that he's put upon our students by making the comments that he's made, so I felt like it was necessary to get my opinion out.
Sophomore Sana Clark spoke in both the student and community session, where she spoke for nearly 15 minutes. Clark says she felt the need to express what all black students are feeling.
And I feel like a lot of black students feel the same way I feel, but they're afraid to actually voice their opinion. And so I felt responsible to step up and say what we all have been thinking.
During the community forum, senior Jonathan Lovelady shared that this isn't the first time Meek has made controversial posts on social media. Last year, Meek took to Facebook to express his concerns about the Welcome Back concert featuring Wiz Khalifa.
There was conversation from this same individual which pushed to relate that black people, African American people, are strongly associated with violence in our country.
Chancellor Vitter was in the audience, and one student, among others, addressed him directly.
My question is, and I know you're not answering any tonight, but when are we going to know what this will look like? Don't wait a week so it can get swept under the rug and then we forget about it, and then this space never mattered. Address the student body, tell us what you're going to do, and then just do that.
Chancellor Vitter released an official statement yesterday, along with Provost Noel Wilkin and the Dean of the Journalism School, Will Norton, condemning the post. It is still undecided what the university will do to handle this situation. Abby McIntosh, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
Journalism faculty had a meeting this afternoon to discuss the controversy. It is still unknown what was decided in that meeting. Ashley, back to you.
Thanks, Abby. And Chancellor Vitter sent out an email to faculty this afternoon to explain that he and other campus leaders have heard the community's input and to remind everyone the process of renaming a building. The first step is the faculty committee of the academic unit must approve a recommendation to make a change. Then, if approved, it moves to the undergraduate and graduate councils. After that, it moves to the Council of Academic Administrators, which is chaired by the provost. From there, it moves to the chancellor, who will then decide to take the matter up with the IHL board for consideration and a final vote. The moment we've been waiting for has arrived. Chauncey Mullins and Jessica Tran have been named your Mr. and Miss Ole Miss 2018. Jessica's platform is mental health awareness. She plans to increase accessibility to mental health resources on campus. Chauncey hopes to make Ole Miss a better place for transfer students and aims to add a transfer seat on the ASB Senate. With all that's in store this school year, Ole Miss is surely in good hands.
Despite campus enrollment dropping by around 2% from last year, the university still projects an increase to 30,000 students by the year 2030. The anticipated influx of new students will put pressure on student housing to find thousands of new rooms on campus. NewsWatch reporter Thomas Zagoras has more.
The Ole Miss Department of Student Housing isn't letting a small decrease in enrollment this year put big housing plans on hold. According to the Ole Miss Master Plan to accommodate the growth, the university plans to expand on-campus housing by 1,400 beds by 2020. Over the next 12 years, student housing is planning to add a total of 1,600 new beds on campus. To hit the number, the university will start several new building projects. Brown and Kincannon Hall will both be torn down and replaced with modern, more spacious dorms. Plans for 3 new residential colleges near the existing ones are also in the works. Freshman Jack Saxton currently lives in Burns Hall, one of the newer dorms on campus.
It's not home, but it's pretty close. Living in these contemporary dorms, it's pretty comfortable. Only sharing a bathroom with one other person's nice, and rooms are spacious and clean, so, I mean, as long as you keep them that way, so it's nice. Yeah.
Saxton also said while the dorms are crowded, they're still comfortable.
It's definitely a full building, but it's not, it doesn't feel cramped. It feels very spacious.
The university plans to start work on the different housing projects over the next few years. Thomas Goris, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
The construction of the downtown parking garage is set to resume on Monday. After announcing they could not secure funding, the Shaw Services project was put on hold. They announced Tuesday that they received a payment and a performance bond. A construction fence and temporary shoring will be installed following the demolition of the existing parking lot on Thursday. The construction is expected to take about a year. Additional free parking is planned to be added downtown during the construction. The garage will be a 4-level structure that will add over 400 parking spaces.
The Ole Miss hockey team is starting their 2018 season tonight, and Sports Watch reporter Hallie Ames is in studio to give us a look at this year's team. Hallie?
Thanks, Ashley. I got a chance to sit in at one of their practices this past week to see how the team is preparing for their home opener.
The Ole Miss hockey team has been working hard to prepare for the upcoming season, and with the home opener tonight, returning senior Austin Graff feels he and his teammates are ready to hit the ice.
The first game against ETBU, East Texas Baptist. It's our first game. The boys have been working really hard. We're just trying to skate and do our own part.
For the last 4 weeks, the Rebels have been working tirelessly to prepare for the game and try to improve on their .500 record from the previous season.
Everyone's been ripping around. We've been ready to go, so we're just ready to get the pucks deep, pucks in the net, and win some hockey games.
With 5 returning seniors and 11 new freshmen, the coaching staff has been making some finishing touches and perfecting ways to beat Eastern Texas Baptist University this upcoming weekend.
I think the guys are excited to get back into games. We've had good skates so far, going back to recruitment weekends, tryouts, first couple weeks of practices we've seen a lot of effort from the guys. I think they're excited to get into games, so I'd expect hard effort and solid results from the first 2 games.
Hopefully their defensive tactics work and the boys bring home a win this upcoming weekend.
The Ole Miss Rebels will be taking on East Texas Baptist University tonight at the Mid-South Ice House in Olive Branch at 9:30. Their second game will be tomorrow at 4:30. Maddie, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Hallie. And the hockey team isn't the only Ole Miss team playing this weekend. The football team will take on Kent State tomorrow, and the city is reminding residents of transportation options. The Jackson Avenue shuttle will begin running at 5 a.m., followed by the ADA shuttles at 7. Both of these shuttles will stop running 1 hour after game time. The double-decker buses will shuttle from the square to campus starting at 8 and continuing for 2 hours after the game ends. Uber and Lyft users should use the Jackson Avenue lot and ride the shuttle to campus. Kickoff is at 11 a.m. tomorrow morning.
The Satterfield Pottery Shop will be hosting its first ever Clear Creek Music and Arts Festival this weekend.
NewsWatch reporter Naja Jaraugi has more in the newsroom.
That's right. Today I visited Satterfield Pottery to find out the inspiration behind organizing this event. Store owner Michael Satterfield says this festival is about giving back to the community.
Satterfield Pottery is a small local business that sells handmade pottery items. The original plan was to have a simple ribbon cutting, which is now turned into a 2-day festival. Owner and organizer Michael Satterfield spoke on what this weekend entails.
People can expect to see our ribbon cutting, our grand opening of Satterfield Pottery. As a celebration to our grand opening, we're having a 2-day music and art festival. You can expect to see local musicians, local artists, food trucks, and just a gathering of the community, local businesses, and smiling faces.
Satterfield has high hopes that this festival will bring more attention to their store. Satterfield shares what he wants his store to give to his customers.
I want customers to come out and just I want Satterfield Pottery to be an Oxford destination. So once they come out, it's just this wacky stable barn with sculptures everywhere and repurposed material, and they're able to come into the studio, and so it's kind of an adventure off the beaten path, and then they're able to get a treasure. And so I say that a lot, but it is. A piece of pottery is a treasure, and you get to keep it for a lifetime.
The festival will stay open to the public until tomorrow night, and the cost of entry is one non-perishable food item. All entries will be donated to the Oxford Pantry. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Naja. Coming up, we'll have updates on Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh and how the latest news sparked a tweet storm from President Trump.
And stay tuned to find out which bank has announced major job cuts and what it could mean for their future. But first, Kayla White has your first look at the current conditions.
Good evening, Rebels and Hottie Toddy. We'll see if the Rebels can live up to their name this weekend because they might be swimming in a little bit of water. As you can see, temperatures are going to drop slightly. They're going to stay in the high 80s though, and if you couple that heat with thunderstorms, you're going to get high humidity. You can see from our radar image that we got some activity moving in from the west that might cause a bit of bad weather. But if you stick around for Storm Watch, I'll let you know just how wet it's going to be.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfies, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I, Krista, take you, Jamie, to be my wife. When we found out that we were pregnant, we were just elated. We were just sitting there waiting for the pediatrician. She said she won't be taking you in as a client.
We are a lesbian couple, but she's just a baby. She's the one you're denying the service to.
The deadline for the woman accusing Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh to submit testimony came and went this morning, but signs now point to a potential hearing later next week for Christine Blasey Ford to address the sexual assault allegations, and part of the story took a public turn today. At 8:56 this morning, Washington time, President Trump started a Supreme Court tweet storm. It started praising Judge Brett Kavanaugh, calling him a fine man facing partisan assault. 18 minutes later, tweet 2 moved to Christine Blasey Ford, who alleges Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her at a party when they were teens. Trump tweeted if the attack was as bad as Ford said, she or her loving parents would have filed charges with local law enforcement. 15 minutes after that, he wondered why someone didn't call the FBI 36 years ago. 3 tweets changed a week-long White House narrative. Listen to what counsel Kellyanne Conway said about Ford just before the tweets went out.
There's no reason to attack her is the reason. There's no reason.
Across Washington, Kavanaugh supporters stuck to more traditional defenses. Women colleagues and friends vouched for his character.
The reason that we know that this allegation is false is because we know Brett Kavanaugh.
Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell told Republicans accusations won't derail the nomination.
You've watched the fight, you've watched the tactics, but here's what I want to tell you. In the very near future, Judge Kavanaugh will be on the United States Supreme Court.
Sources say the Senate Judiciary Committee will propose a Wednesday hearing, with Ford testifying first, and outside counsel asking the questions. Negotiations continue. So have Trump tweets, including one hours after the first series saying, "Let Ford testify or not, and take the vote." Kavanaugh's confirmation hearing will be next Wednesday. We'll continue to have updates on his hearing. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein dismissed a new report today alleging he discussed wearing a wire to record conversations with President Trump. The New York Times report also claimed Rosenstein talked about recruiting cabinet members to invoke the 25th Amendment. Doing so would remove President Trump from office. Rosenstein later issued a forceful statement denying the New York Times allegations, saying that they are inaccurate and factually incorrect. He went on to say that his personal dealings with the president provide no basis to invoke the 25th Amendment. There has been no comment from the White House.
5 people, including a newborn and 2 infants, were stabbed today at an unlicensed daycare in New York. A suspect is in custody and the victims are in critical but stable condition.
However, from what we are able to determine, there is no license. Although they claim they are licensed, they are not. And we have to make sure that there are not other situations, such as the one that exists here.
Although the motive of the attack is still unclear, the buildings department received several complaints about the daycare prior to this incident, including one of screaming children. CEO Tim Sloan announced that Wells Fargo plans to cut as many as 26,000 jobs over the next 3 years. Reasons given for the layoff include the growth of digital banking and changing customer preferences. The company reported declines in profit, revenue, loans, and deposits last quarter. Following the fake account scandal, among others, the bank has been under pressure to cut costs. In January, the company announced that they will be closing over 800 branches by 2020, and in June revealed a plan to sell all branches in Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio, leaving no retail presence in a major part of the Midwest.
It has been sunny and bright all week in Oxford, and I hope that the nice weather continues this weekend.
Me too. I definitely wouldn't mind some cooler weather though. Kayla White will let us know if the clear skies will continue this game day weekend in her extended forecast. Up next on Stormwatch.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back. When you want to talk, I'm here.
Did you put a new dent in that? This one? No. Were you texting and driving again? Yes.
Hi, Leah.
Hi, Dad.
Sorry about your bumper.
I got some Oxy after I hurt my neck. First, I took them to feel better. Then, I just kept taking them. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Oh
opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Good evening, Rebels. So current temperatures are sitting at 90 degrees, but luckily we'll have a couple clouds to keep some of that heat off when speeds are low. As you can see from our satellite image behind me, we got a little bit of activity moving in from the west, and it's gonna bring colder temperatures and a couple showers into Oxford. Moving on, I will let you see our current temperatures. South Haven is on the lower side of things at 88, so we got current at 89, Oxford and Tupelo at 90, and then we have Holly Springs at 91. And then tomorrow, things are definitely gonna get a little cooler. We've got Oxford at 80, current at 83, South Haven and Holly Springs right below at 74 and 79, and then we have Tupelo topping us off at 87. All right, so moving on to tonight's forecast. Things are gonna get a little bit cooler. 68 degrees is where we're at. Winds are gonna be light. Precipitation is gonna be at 60%, so I might make it a night in. And then we're going to move on to tomorrow's forecast. We're gonna be at a cool 80. There's gonna be an 80% chance of rain, so I definitely bring my umbrella, a couple scattered thunderstorms, and then wind speeds at 10 miles per hour. All right, moving on to our 5-day forecast. We have Sunday, a high of 78. Monday, things are gonna get a little hotter at 82. Tuesday, 84. And then things are gonna drop off to 77 at Wednesday and 79 at Thursday. Lower temperatures are gonna hit about mid-60s. And there will be about a 50 to 60% chance of rain. So again, I'd keep that umbrella in my backpack. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Kayla. Coming up, the Rebel soccer team went into last night's matchup undefeated in conference play. See if they kept that streak against number 19, Tennessee.
And find out what the Cleveland Brown did for the first time in 635 days. Next in Sports Watch.
Don't ignore the subtext. It's on us to intervene in sexual assault. Because we can. Take the pledge at itsonus.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Welcome to Sports Watch. I'm Sky Spieler. The Ole Miss soccer team took on the number 19 Tennessee Volunteers last night. Midfielder Haley Stackpole nearly scored in the 4th minute, but Vols keeper Shea Yanez made a diving save to keep Ole Miss off the board. Tennessee jumped ahead on a Bunny Shaw goal in the 22nd minute. the Rebs had quite a few chances to tie it up, but nothing was getting by Inez. The Vols locked up the win when Megan Flynn scored in the 87th minute. Ole Miss will try to avoid their third straight loss when they take on number 9 Auburn on Sunday. After last week's big loss to Alabama, the Rebels are ready to get back on the gridiron for tomorrow's matchup against Kent State. Our very own Annie Mapp caught up with some of the players to discuss their mindset. Annie?
I'm here at the Vaught-Hemingway Stadium where the Rebels will be taking on the Kent State Golden Flashes in less than 24 hours. Now the guys are getting ready to get on those buses and head to the hotel, but I was able to grab some insight about the game. They say the locker room has been full of positivity after falling to Bama last weekend, and their goal for tomorrow is just to execute and play as a team. I can definitely tell the guys are locked in, and all they have to do now is just show up and show out. Annie Mapp, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
The Ole Miss men's and women's cross-country teams made the trek up to Boston to compete in the battle in Beantown. Sophomore Cleo Ozan-Jacks hopes to build upon a phenomenal freshman season in which she earned SEC All-Freshman honors. The women's team looks to outpace top-ranked squads Providence, Syracuse, and Minnesota in a 5K race. The women are coming off of the SEC preview meet at Auburn, where they had a strong showing, placing second in the final standings. The 30th ranked men are running an 8K race and look to outpace number 10 Syracuse, among others. Last night, the Cleveland Browns did something they haven't done in 635 days: win. Even better, they did it in Cleveland. The Thursday night matchup with the Jets started out as ugly as ever for the Browns. Tyrod Taylor struggled to hit even the most open targets. He was 4 for 14 when he took a hit to the head and left for concussion protocol, and you know what that means. Heisman quarterback Baker Mayfield entered the game to a roar from the dog pound, and he did not disappoint. Down 14-0, Baker and the Browns came back to tie it up in the third quarter. The Browns would take a 21-17 lead in the fourth on a Carlos Hyde run, and a Terrence Mitchell interception sealed the deal. Mayfield went 17 for 23 and threw for 201 yards in his debut and made a good case for why he should be Cleveland's starting quarterback moving forward. That's all I have for you today in sports. Be sure to watch the Twitter feed tomorrow at NewsWatch_UM, as I'll give you up-to-the-minute updates on tomorrow's noon kickoff game. Ashley, Maddie, back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Sky. Up next, see the special tribute Google has created for famous television personality.
Stay tuned to find out why this story will have you singing Won't You Be My Neighbor.
We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are distinguished as a Carnegie R1 top 2.5% research institution. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans, because love has no labels.
A tech giant honored a television giant today on the front page of its search engine. Google Doodle created a sweet stop-motion video to celebrate the 51st anniversary of the filming of the first episode of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Fred Rogers became known as Mr. Rogers, the sweater-wearing television neighbor, after the national premiere of its show on PBS in February 1968.
The groundbreaking children's series inspired and educated generations of young viewers with Rogers' signature warmth, sensitivity, and honesty. Today's doodle was set to the iconic opening song of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Won't You Be My Neighbor?
It's a neighborly day.
That's all we have for tonight. Thank you for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Ashley Muller.
Be sure to join us here again on Monday night at 5 and on NewsWatchOleMiss.com. I'm Maddie Saverin. Thank you and good night.